Life has a way of throwing unexpected storms our way. There are moments when nothing makes sense, when doors slam shut, when the path ahead is covered in fog, and all we're left with are questions. It's in those moments that doubt creeps in, whispering, maybe you're not meant for this. Maybe you're not enough. Maybe this isn't working out for a reason. But what if, just what if, there's something greater at work? What if every setback, every delay, every disappointment is actually setting you up for something better? What if the closed doors aren't rejection but redirection? What if the detours in your life aren't roadblocks but the exact route you need to take to get where you're meant to be? The truth is, we often only see what's right in front of us, but there's a plan unfolding that's so much bigger than what we can comprehend. It's easy to trust when things are going our way, when prayers are answered in the way we expect, when life feels smooth and predictable. But real trust, the kind that transforms everything, happens in the waiting, in the uncertainty, in the moments when nothing makes sense. That's where faith is built. Think about the times in your life when you thought something was over, when you thought you had lost, when you thought you had failed, only to later realize it was actually the best thing that could have happened. Maybe you didn't get that job because you were meant for something greater. Maybe that relationship ended because you were being protected from heartbreak down the road. Maybe that delay saved you from walking into something you weren't ready for. Life isn't about controlling every outcome. It's about surrendering to the process, knowing that even when you can't see the full picture, the pieces are coming together in ways you couldn't imagine. It's about showing up even when you don't understand. It's about believing even when nothing seems to be happening. It's about trusting that every season has a purpose, even the ones that feel like winter. So when things don't go your way, when you feel lost, when you're questioning everything, hold on, keep going, keep believing. Because just when you think nothing is happening, everything is happening. The plan for your life is unfolding in ways you cannot see. And one day you'll look back and realize that every twist, every turn, every unexpected moment was leading you exactly where you were meant to be. Life doesn't always unfold the way we expect. Some mornings we wake up feeling strong, certain, and ready to take on the world. Other days, we wake up to unanswered prayers, unexpected challenges, and a deep sense of wondering, why is this happening? But every single day, no matter how it begins, is part of a greater story, a story that is being written with precision, intention, and purpose. It's easy to trust when everything feels aligned, when doors open effortlessly, when the sun is shining and the road ahead is clear. But what about the days that feel heavy? What about the moments that test your patience, your strength, and your faith? Those are the days that truly shape you. Those are the moments when trust is not just an idea, it's a choice. Imagine waking up to a day that feels like everything is going wrong, plans fall apart, obstacles appear out of nowhere, and frustration begins to build. In those moments, it's natural to ask, why me? But what if instead you asked, what if this is exactly what I need? What if today, even with its challenges, is preparing you for something greater? What if the delays are protecting you, the struggles are strengthening you, and the uncertainties are teaching you? No day is wasted. Even the hard days are part of the journey. The things that feel like roadblocks might actually be stepping stones, redirecting you to something better. The setbacks are often setups for something far greater than you could have imagined. And just because you can't see the full picture today, doesn't mean the picture isn't coming together in ways beyond your understanding. So when you face a day that feels uncertain, choose to believe that it has purpose. When you encounter challenges, trust that they are shaping you. And when things don't go as planned, remember that every single moment is part of something bigger. You may not always see the reason right away, but one day you'll look back and realize that even the hardest days were leading you exactly where you were meant to be. There are moments in life when things don't go as planned. You put in the effort, give it your all, and yet the door slams shut. The opportunity slips away. The relationship ends. The dream you held so close suddenly feels out of reach. And in those moments, doubt creeps in, whispering that maybe you weren't meant for this, maybe you failed, maybe you lost. But what if, just what if, you didn't lose anything at all? What if instead you were being set up for something even greater? It's hard to understand why certain things don't work out in the moment. When you face rejection, delay, or disappointment, it's easy to assume something went wrong. But what if nothing went wrong at all? What if that closed door wasn't meant to be opened because it would have led you somewhere you didn't belong? What if that unanswered prayer was actually the greatest blessing, protecting you from something you couldn't yet see? Some of the best things in life come not from what goes right, but from what goes wrong. The job you didn't get might be the reason you discover a new, unexpected path. The person who walked away might be making space for someone who truly sees you, values you, and stays. The delay you're facing might be giving you the time you need to grow into the person who's ready for what's coming next. Life isn't about collecting perfect moments. It's about trusting that even the imperfect ones are leading you exactly where you need to be. So when something doesn't go your way, take a deep breath and remind yourself that this is not the end of your story. It's just a redirection, a setup for something better, something bigger, something beyond what you imagined. Trust that what's meant for you will never miss you, and what misses you was never meant to stay. One day you'll look back at this very moment and realize it wasn't a loss at all. It was a turning point. And it was always part of the plan. There is a plan unfolding in your life that is far greater than what you can see right now. Every moment, every experience, every challenge, it's all connected in ways you may not yet understand. It's easy to believe in this plan when things are going smoothly, when the pieces fit together effortlessly, when life feels predictable and safe. But what about the moments of confusion? What about the days when nothing makes sense, when you're standing at a crossroads with no clear direction? It's in those moments that trust truly matters. Just because you can't see the full picture doesn't mean it's not being created. Just because you don't have all the answers doesn't mean there isn't a purpose behind every situation you're facing. Sometimes what feels like chaos is actually divine alignment. Sometimes what looks like a setback is actually the perfect positioning for something greater. You weren't meant to have all the answers today. You were meant to take one step at a time, knowing that each step is leading you exactly where you need to go. Think about a puzzle. When you first dump all the pieces onto the table, it looks like a mess. Nothing seems to fit. The image isn't clear. But as you keep working, as you start putting pieces together, a beautiful picture begins to emerge. Life is the same way. Right now, you may only see scattered pieces, disconnected moments that seem random or unfair. But one day you will look back and see how everything was fitting together perfectly. The missed opportunities, the heartbreaks, the delays, every single piece was necessary for the masterpiece being created. So even on the hardest days, trust that something bigger is at work. Know that just because you don't see immediate results doesn't mean things aren't moving in your favor. Your journey is unfolding exactly as it should, and in time, everything will make sense. One day, you'll look back and realize that every twist, every turn, every unanswered question was part of something more beautiful than you ever imagined. Trust is easy when life feels predictable, when things go according to plan, when doors open effortlessly, when the path ahead is clear. Believing in a greater plan feels natural, but real trust, the kind that transforms you, happens in the moments of uncertainty. It happens when nothing is going the way you hoped, when prayers seem unanswered, when the road ahead is covered in fog and you have no choice but to move forward without knowing what's next. This is where faith is tested, not in the moments of comfort, but in the moments of confusion. It's in the waiting, in the detours, in the unexpected shifts that trust is built. You don't need faith when everything makes sense. You need faith when it doesn't. The moments of silence, the seasons of delay, the times when everything feels still. These are not signs that nothing is happening. These are the very moments when trust is being strengthened, when patience is being developed, when resilience is being formed. Think about the strongest people you know. They didn't become strong by having an easy, predictable life. They became strong because they learned to trust even when they couldn't see the full picture. They kept going when things felt impossible. They believed when they had every reason to give up. Strength isn't built in the sunshine, it's built in the storms, the delays, the rejections, the struggles. These are not signs that you are off track. They are proof that you are being prepared for something greater. So if today feels uncertain, if you are facing a moment where nothing makes sense, know that this is where trust is most important. This is where you have to believe, not because everything is perfect, but because you know deep inside that something greater is coming. One day, you will look back and realize that this moment of uncertainty was actually the foundation of your greatest strength. The waiting was never wasted. It was shaping you, strengthening you, and preparing you for everything that was meant to be. There are moments in life when you look back and realize that what once felt like a loss was actually a blessing. The job you didn't get, the relationship that ended, the opportunity that slipped away. At the time, it may have felt like everything was falling apart, but now, with the wisdom of experience, you see that it was never falling apart. It was falling into place. Life has a way of making sense in hindsight. The very things you once cried over, the situations that broke you, the unanswered prayers that left you questioning everything, one day they become the moments you are most grateful for. Because those moments redirected you, they shaped you, they saved you from something that wasn't meant for you and led you towards something that was. The detours weren't mistakes, they were necessary turns on the path to something greater. In the middle of the storm, it's hard to see the purpose. It's hard to understand why something is happening when you're in the middle of the pain, the confusion, the uncertainty. But trust is about believing in the purpose before you see the proof. It's about knowing deep down that one day everything will make sense, even if today it doesn't. Think about the moments that once felt like the end of the world but turned out to be the beginning of something beautiful. The job rejection that led to a career you love. The heartbreak that made space for the right person to walk in. The delay that put you in the right place at the right time. These moments are proof that there is a plan greater than your own, one that is working in your favor even when you don't see it. So when you face a situation that feels like a dead end, remind yourself that one day you will see it differently. One day you will look back and realize that what felt like an ending was actually a new beginning. You may not understand it today, but trust that you are being guided. Trust that everything, even this moment, is part of something bigger than you can imagine. And when the time is right, you will see that it was never a loss. It was always leading you to something greater. There is a deep longing in all of us to have control over our lives. We want to know what's coming next. We want certainty. We want to be able to map out every step with precision. But life doesn't work that way. No matter how much you plan, how hard you try, or how desperately you hold on, there will be moments when things don't go according to your script. And it's in those moments that you have a choice to fight against what's happening or to surrender to the process, trusting that there is a reason beyond what you can see. Surrender is not about giving up. It's about letting go of the illusion that you have to control everything for things to work out. It's about understanding that there is a plan unfolding, even when it doesn't match your expectations. When you release the need to force things, you create space for what is truly meant for you to enter your life. You begin to see that what's falling away was never meant to stay, and what remains is exactly what you need. Think about all the times in your life when you held on too tightly, when you tried to push something that wasn't meant for you, when you resisted the changes that were happening. And now, looking back, you realize that the things you were so afraid to lose were never truly aligned with where you were meant to be. The heartbreak that felt unbearable at the time actually led you to something better. The rejection that made you question your worth was actually redirection to a greater opportunity. The timing that frustrated you was actually protecting you from stepping into something you weren't ready for. When you surrender, you step into a life of peace instead of resistance. You stop questioning every delay, every closed door, every unexpected turn, and instead, you embrace the belief that everything is working for your good. Even the challenges are shaping you. Even the uncertainty is guiding you. You don't have to know every detail of the plan to trust that it exists. You don't have to see the whole staircase to take the next step. You simply have to believe that the journey is unfolding exactly as it should. So when you feel like things are out of your control, take a deep breath and remind yourself that you were never meant to carry the weight of knowing it all. Let go of the need to force outcomes. Let go of the worry, the doubt, the endless what ifs. Trust that what is meant for you will always find you. And know that when you surrender, you don't lose control, you gain freedom. There are moments in life when nothing seems to be going the way you planned. You find yourself waiting for answers, waiting for opportunities, waiting for things to finally fall into place. It's frustrating, it's exhausting, and in those moments of delay, doubt starts creeping in. You start questioning whether you're on the right path, whether you've missed your chance, whether you'll ever get to where you want to be. But what if the waiting isn't a punishment? What if the delay is actually a part of the plan? Not every door is meant to open right away. Sometimes what feels like a setback is actually a season of preparation. You might think you're ready for what you want, but what if there are still lessons to learn? What if the timing isn't right, not because you're not deserving, but because something even greater is being aligned for you? What if what you're asking for is too small compared to what's actually coming? Think about the times in your past when you wanted something so badly only to realize later that it wouldn't have been right for you. The relationship that didn't work out, the job that slipped away, the opportunity that never came through. At the time, it felt like a loss. But now, looking back, you see how it all worked out in ways you couldn't have planned yourself. The delay wasn't rejection, it was protection. The waiting wasn't wasted time, it was preparing you for something better. There is a reason for every season of waiting. It's in these moments that patience is built, that strength is developed, that faith is tested. Trusting the timing of your life means understanding that just because something isn't happening right now doesn't mean it's never going to happen. The path may not be clear today, but that doesn't mean you're lost. The plan is still unfolding, the pieces are still coming together. So instead of fighting the delays, embrace them. Instead of seeing detours as obstacles, see them as redirections. Every moment of waiting is shaping you, refining you, and preparing you for what's ahead. What is meant for you will never pass you by, and what is coming will arrive at exactly the right time. One day you will look back and understand why things didn't happen the way you wanted them to, because something even greater was being written for you all along. Life moves in seasons, each one with its own lessons, challenges, and purpose. There are moments of growth, moments of stillness, moments of loss, and moments of abundance, but the mistake we often make is believing that only the bright, joyful seasons are meaningful. We rush through the difficult moments, wishing them away, failing to see that even the hardest days are shaping us in ways we cannot yet understand. Every season has a role in the journey. The painful ones teach us resilience. The uncertain ones teach us patience. The quiet ones teach us to trust. Even when it feels like nothing is happening, like you're stuck in a waiting period, like you're lost in the in-between, know that this season is not wasted. It is doing something within you, refining you, strengthening you, preparing you for what's coming next. The winter may feel long, but without it, there would be no spring. The darkness may seem overwhelming, but it is in the dark that roots grow deep. Think about the struggles you have already overcome. At the time, they felt impossible. You didn't know how you would get through them, but you did. And now, looking back, you see how those very moments shaped you. They built the strength you carry today. They gave you wisdom, clarity, and depth that you wouldn't have had otherwise. The pain you once resented became the very thing that made you stronger. And just like before, this season, whatever it may be, is shaping you in ways you will one day be grateful for. You don't have to understand the purpose of this moment to trust that it has one. You don't have to see the full picture to believe that something greater is being created. Life is always moving forward, even when it feels like you are standing still. The lessons, the growth, the transformation, it's all happening even if you can't see it yet. So instead of resisting the season you're in, lean into it. Trust that it is exactly what you need right now. One day you will look back and realize that even this moment, this uncertain, challenging, unexpected moment, was a necessary step toward everything you were meant to become. There are moments when life feels like a puzzle with missing pieces. You wonder why certain things happened the way they did, why some dreams slipped through your fingers, why certain people came and left. You search for answers, trying to make sense of it all, but sometimes clarity doesn't come right away. And that's where trust becomes your greatest strength, not in understanding every detail, but in believing that one day everything will make perfect sense. Life is not random. Every experience, every challenge, every unexpected turn is part of something greater than what you can see right now. The struggles that once felt unbearable will one day reveal themselves as the very moments that built you. The delays that frustrated you will prove to be necessary pauses. protecting you from what you weren't ready for or guiding you towards something better. The disappointments that made you question everything will eventually show themselves as blessings in disguise. Think about the times in your past when things didn't go as planned. At the time, it felt like a loss, like something had gone terribly wrong. But now, with time and perspective, you see the truth. It wasn't a loss at all. It was a redirection. It was life moving you away from what wasn't meant for you and toward what was. The heartbreak that felt unbearable taught you what real love should be. The missed opportunity that devastated you led you to something even greater. The closed door that seemed unfair was actually saving you from something you didn't yet understand. Trusting the bigger picture means knowing that even when things don't make sense, they are still working in your favor. It means choosing faith over fear, surrender over resistance, and patience over frustration. You may not see the full picture today, but one day you will. One day you will look back and realize that every step, every high, every low, every unanswered question was part of something so much bigger than you ever imagined. And when that day comes, you will understand that nothing was ever missing, nothing was ever wasted, and you were always exactly where you were meant to be. Life is a journey filled with twists and turns, moments of clarity and moments of uncertainty. There will be times when everything seems to fall perfectly into place, and there will be times when nothing makes sense. But through it all, there is a plan unfolding, one that is greater than your fears, greater than your doubts, and greater than anything you could have written for yourself. Trusting this plan does not mean that life will always be easy. It does not mean that you will never face disappointment, loss, or detours. It simply means believing that even in the chaos, there is order. Even in the delays, there is perfect timing. Even in the heartbreak, there is purpose. Every experience, good or bad, painful or joyful, is shaping you into the person you were meant to become. Every unanswered prayer, every unexpected turn, every closed door is guiding you, protecting you, and preparing you for something far greater than you can see in this moment. You were never meant to have all the answers today. You were meant to take one step at a time, knowing that each step, even the uncertain ones, is leading you exactly where you need to be. The struggles, the waiting, the disappointments, they are not signs that you are lost. They are proof that you are on a journey of becoming. You are learning patience, resilience, and faith in ways you never could have if everything had gone according to your own timeline. One day you will look back and see that nothing was wasted. The delays were not punishments, they were moments of preparation. The rejections were not failures, they were redirections. The unanswered prayers were not ignored, they were making room for something better. You will realize that you were never abandoned, never forgotten, never overlooked. Everything was always working in your favor, even when it didn't feel like it. So as you move forward, hold on to that trust. Let go of the need to control every outcome, to force things to happen on your terms, to question every unexpected turn. Believe that you are exactly where you are meant to be, and what is meant for you will always find you at the right time. The story of your life is still being written, and when you finally see the full picture, you will understand that every single moment, every challenge, every delay, every victory was part of something far greater than you ever imagined.